Hello there. Today we are going to learn about king post truss roof. So what you have here is a SketchUp model prepared for this purpose to explain the details of king post truss. Now what you are seeing here is a king post truss. The king post truss consists of these two members here, which you can see 1 and 2. These two members are called as the principal rafters. The bottom member which you are seeing here is called the tie member. The vertical member here is called as the king post, and these inclined members, they are called as the struts. So these members together constitute the king post truss. I will again repeat. These two members are the principal rafters. The bottom member is the tie member. The vertical member seen here is the king post, and these two inclined members are called as the struts. Now what is the advantage of having a king post truss? So one of the major advantages of king post roof is that this particular truss can span a distance of about 6 meters. So this can be used to span rooms which are of a larger size than that used for couple roof, closed couple roof, collar roof and so on. The king post truss, which you can see here, is placed at a distance of approximately 3 meters along the length. That means that if we consider this truss here, next truss will be placed in this direction somewhere after 3 meters, and also maybe in this direction after a distance of 3 meters. So at every 3 meters approximately we will be having a king post truss. Now on top of the king post truss, what you are seeing here are these members. These members are called as the purlins. So the similar members you will see on the other side. I will highlight them. So these are called as the purlins. These purlins are spanning from one truss to another truss. So if there was one truss here and the next truss was at a distance of 3 meters, then this purlin would span a distance of approximately 3 meter distance. On top of the purlins there is a set of inclined members. These are called as the common rafters. So there are two sets of rafters here. One are these members which we saw already. These are the principal rafter, which are part of the king post truss, and then these are the common rafters which are placed on top of the purlin. These common rafters roughly come at a distance of about 400 to 450 center to center, and they run right from the top portion of the roof to the bottom portion of the roof, which means from the ridge to the eaves. On top of these members, that is on top of the common rafters, what you have is timber boards which are similar to your floorboards, but they are placed along the incline of the roof. They are tongue and grooved to each other as in case of a timber floor, and these boards are going to be called as the soffit boards or the ceiling boards. The reason for having these boards is that from the bottom of the roof, that is if we go below the roof and look at the roof from the bottom, what you will see is a nice clean soffit which will be consisting of these boards. So this type of a roof is also called as a boarded roof. On top of the boards, what you can see are these members, 50 by 25 battens. These battens are placed at a distance of approximately 300 center to center, and on top of these battens will be coming the Mangalore tiles or any type of clay tiles. These clay tiles and other details are not shown just because we are trying to show the internal part of the king post roof. What you will see is that at the end of the roof, that is after the projection, there will be a roof projection outside the wall. There is going to be a board which is going to be connecting all the common rafters to each other. This is called as a fascia board or a eaves board. The gutter, if there is going to be a gutter, will be provided on this fascia board in the form of gutter brackets and a galvanized iron gutter. Now what you will see is that the trusses are going to be the main load carrying members. So all the load from the roof will first be transferred to the common rafters. From the common rafters it will be transferred to the purlins, and then from the purlins it will be transferred to the king post truss. So the king post truss is going to be the main member which is carrying the load from the roof, and that load is going to be a point load. So what you will see here is that wherever you have these king post trusses resting on the wall, there is going to be a concrete pad or stone pad provided. This concrete pad is provided so that the point load coming from the truss is distributed over a larger area so that the bricks below them do not get crushed. So that is the purpose of the stone pad or concrete pad. It can be made out of stone or concrete. So we'll see a similar type of pad on the other side here. Now let us look more in detail at the joinery of the truss. So what you will see here is that the king post is of a peculiar shape. At the top it has got a bigger cross section, then it is chamfered here, a smaller section in between, and again a larger section at the bottom. The principal rafters are connected to the king post by means of a tenon mortise joint, and on both sides of the king post the principal rafters are connected by this type of a steel member which will be a sort of connector which will hold the joint together. At the bottom what you will see is that there is going to be again a joint between the tie member and the king post. That joint is going to be a tenon mortise joint. So if we see the X-ray view of this thing, what you will see here is the tenon mortise joint. Also what you will see here is that the king post and the tie member are secured to each other by means of a steel strap. So this steel strap goes all around like this, and it is going to connect the king post to the tie. Now to fix this tie to the king post, specific arrangement of metal members called as Gibbs and Cotter is made. So you will see that there are total 1, 2 and 3 and 4 members. Out of these 2 members are going to be placed at the top and the bottom, and in between these 2 members are going to be metal wedges or steel wedges. So if we look at the X-ray view of the same thing, what you will see is that there is a hole made inside the king post through and through, and this particular members, this one and this one, is placed at the top and the bottom, and in between you will see that these two steel members are inserted in between this. These are the wedges, so you can tighten or loosen the system by using these wedges. Now similar to this, what you will see now, these Gibbs and Cotter, when they are taken out, how they will be seen, let us look at that by just going to the menu here and trying to see the putting on the layers on which the Gibbs and Cotter are there. So what you will see is that when these are shown in exploded view, you will be seeing this arrangement here in the form of these two members and the steel wedges in between. Now similar to this steel strap, another steel strap is provided to connect the principal rafter and the tie member here, and similarly another strap here is provided to fix the joint properly. You will also observe that there is a specific joint between the principal rafter and the tie member. This type of a joint is called as the house joint. The reason for having this house joint is that this house joint prevents the principal rafter from sliding on top of the tie as a result of the thrust which is going to be created due to load. So if this joint was not there, this member would have moved or would have had a tendency to slide on top of the tie member. So you will see a similar house joint on this side. A similar type of house joint is also made between the struts here. As you can see, this is one strut and this is another strut here. Now let us talk about the forces which are acting in the king post truss. So this could be a question in your exam. Explain the forces which are acting in the king post truss. So what you will see is that these two members, that is the principal rafters, these are going to be in compression. The vertical post or the king post is going to be in tension. The tie member is going to be in tension, and the inclined members which you see here, which are called as the struts, they are going to be in compression. So I'll again repeat. The two principal rafters are going to be in compression. The tie member is going to be in tension. The king post is going to be in tension, and the two struts are going to be in compression. Now this can be worked out by using engineering, by using your how to calculate the forces in a truss, or to find out whether it is a compressive or tensile force. Now some other details which you can see here is that this is a purlin which I told you about earlier. This purlin is placed along the incline, and therefore what happens is, as a result of this roof which is going to have a tendency to slide down, this purlin will have a tendency to topple. So to fix the purlin properly to the truss, we have got this type of a member. This member is called as the cleat. So you will see similar cleats here, 1, 2, 3 cleats which are placed to fix the purlin to the principal rafter. Similarly on this side you will see these cleats which are there. Now at the top of this king post, what you will see is this member which is called as the ridge piece. This ridge piece is fixed into the king post here. The function of the ridge piece is to connect all the rafters so that they do not move horizontally with respect to each other. So that is the purpose of the ridge piece. Now one more detail which you can see here is that the wall which is carrying the load of the truss is stopped at this particular point, and then a smaller wall continues up to the top of these particular rafters. Now constructing this wall is necessary. I'll show you why. Suppose this wall was not there, then what would have happened is that there would have been a gap left between the rafters here and here, and through this gap birds and other insects and other things would have entered inside the roof. So therefore it is necessary to continue this wall right up to the base of the boarding. This wall which is there is called as the beam filling. So the purposeful name for that is beam filling. So that is another term which you can remember in case of the truss roof. Now I hope all these points are clear to you. The purposefully we have not shown the tiles, the ridge tile and other details which were there in earlier video where we had learnt about couple roof and closed couple roof. So the same details would apply here. So I hope this detail of king post truss is clear to you. Thank you.